We have so much to get into after last night's action. Let's start, though, where things ended, because this was supposed to say Lake Show, but things changed quickly. Nuggets versus the Lakers in Game 3. Lakers have lost 6 straight playoff games, all to the Nuggets. 1 loss from tying the franchise's record longest playoff losing streak. But early in the first quarter, Windy, a little showtime from Los Angeles.
Yeah, this is what you'd expect from the Lakers coming out at home. Lots of energy from LeBron, lots of energy from AD. They were a great home team this year. You knew they were going to come out and fight for their lives in this series.
Yeah, LeBron, 8 points, 4 for 4 field goals in the first quarter as Los Angeles took an early lead. And then Anthony Davis, really aggressive, getting to the rim. Now, okay, the Nuggets start showing up. They push it in transition.
Look at the score, though.
I know, exactly. And watch this right here. Aaron Gordon, he was Mr. Do-It-All, Scott.
Aaron Gordon was awesome, Shanae. He playoff career high in points and rebounds. He set the tone with his energy and athleticism all night long.
He truly did. He truly did. Now in the third quarter, Nuggets down again. But watch, tough finish. He plays in the dunker position, and I don't think anyone plays better from that spot on the floor than AG. Later, again, turnover, dime. Just a tough finish from Jamal Murray.
Jamal Murray, steady as they come. And,
steady Eddie?
Yes, and he raises his game come playoff time. We know that.
Yep. And then, I mean, this was a tough foul, a little bit of a frustration foul from LeBron James, especially given the circumstances. Now we head to the fourth quarter. Nuggets in the lead, and Porter Jr. knocks down the jumper. The Nuggets extend the lead to 12, and the Nuggets would win 112-105. And this was just a little bit of insult to injury. Jokic had 24, 15, and 9. Nuggets win. Here's LeBron after the game.
We know what it takes to win. We know what it takes to win a championship and how, damn near perfect you got to be. That's not like something that's so crazy to obtain. I've been a part of it 4 times where you have to have almost perfect basketball to win, and I've done it with him. So I'm not a guy that you should ask that, because I don't feel a way about anybody that don't want to strive to be as close to perfect as possible. And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
So glad to have Brian Windhorst here today, because, Brian, you read the tea leaves better than anyone when it comes to LeBron James. What's your reaction to his comments after he's now 1 loss away from getting swept by the Nuggets?
Yeah, he's getting raked over the coals a little bit for this comment, but you have to give the context of what the question. He was asked, what the question was, does he think some of his teammates are pressing because he knows that they all know they have to play perfect to beat the Nuggets? And he was basically saying, that's basketball. Basketball is the way you play that. I really don't think you should take that comment and blow it out of proportion. What I do think you should understand is that LeBron is 15-1 in his career in the first round. Not overall record, 15-1 in series. Janae, he once went through a stretch of 5 years where he didn't lose a first-round game. 21 straight first-round games he won. And the reason I'm bringing that up is he knows what it's like to be on the other side, where he's the best player and he has the better team, and he just wrestles the other opponent that is inferior to the ground. That is what is happening here. He can't say it that cleanly because he would get raked over the coals for it for that too, but I am saying it for him. They are not good enough. He knows they are not good enough, and it's now just a matter of time, as it was for him for a decade plus on the other side of this.
Yeah, so Wendy, you're basically saying the tables have turned in the harshest ways for LeBron James. And you also know that saying, the luck of the draw. Well, this matchup was the opposite of that for the Los Angeles Lakers, because the Nuggets are that good. Let me talk nerdy to you for a second. Denver is the 4th team to win the first 3 games of a series after trailing at halftime. This is even more impressive when you realize that the Nuggets have trailed by double digits in all of those 3 games. So, Scott, why can't a LeBron-led Lakers team figure it out really in the second half of these games?
To put it simply, Shanae, they just going up against a better team. This Denver Nuggets team is just absolutely better. And let's just break down the starting lineups. Okay, you got LeBron and AD, 2 All-Stars. You've got obviously Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, and 2 All-Stars. But the other 3 starters, huge advantage for the for the Nuggets, for sure. Because look, Aaron Gordon, we just talked about him, super athlete, near All-Star last year. KCP, great two-way player. Michael Porter could be averaging 20 points on any team in the league. And they're overmatched. D'Lo and Austin Reeves, those guys are overmatched in this series. And so they're running against a championship caliber team that knows how to win. Even when the Lakers get off to these fast starts, they understand how to not drop the rope, continue to execute, push through, and get to the finish line.
Yeah, and they were fortunate last year in their draw. They got a team in Golden State that was smaller that they could be bigger than, and then they played, they played Memphis, and Memphis, Ja Morant was dinged up, and Steven Adams was dinged up. They had some advantages last year they didn't have this year. Just because they're going to go out in the first round of this year's playoffs doesn't mean that they're demonstrably worse than they were last year. It just means that they played the Nuggets in the first round. And the biggest number that I can give, we played that sound from Michael Malone, who goes, "We don't panic when we get behind." In the 7 games in the playoffs that the Lakers and Nuggets have played over the last 2 years, the Lakers have won the first half by 21 points. They've won almost every first half. The Nuggets have won the second halves by 62. And I'm telling you, maybe those numbers don't exactly equal, but I'll bet if you go back to LeBron James teams in 2013, 14, 15, 16, those were happening in those series too. Because the better team, and in this case also usually the bigger team, bigger, taller, and better, tends to win out as the game goes along. And I'm sure if you're a Laker fan, you feel like you've seen the same game over and over because that's what it really has been.
Yeah, the hard thing about all of this is that the Lakers, they came into this series playing really great basketball. They just ran into a juggernaut. Welcome back to NBA Today. Chiney Ogwumike here with Brian Windhorst and Tim Bontemps. And I just realized we're one person short of the Hoop Collective pod. Hey! Tim McMahon, everyone's here. So let's officially do a Hoop Collective takeover of NBA Today. Take it away, Brian.
Hey, thanks, Chiney. Thanks for hosting the Hoop Collective here on NBA Today, where we'll talk about the NBA. The last couple of days, Bontemps, heavy criticism of Darvin Ham as he has now overseen 7 consecutive playoff losses to the Denver Nuggets. They're ripping his lineups. They say he's too small. They're ripping his second half adjustments. They're ripping the fact that he's not using enough timeouts. They're ripping the fact that he's not using enough challenges, although he did use a challenge late in the fourth quarter last night that was successful. There's a lot of heat on Darvin Ham. I don't know if he's going to survive this if they get swept a second time, but you don't necessarily believe that all of the angst should be pointed at the head coach of the Lakers.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to sit here, Brian, and try to say Darvin Ham has done a perfect job, but let's look at what, to me, the real problem with the Lakers is, which is their roster isn't good enough, which is why they've lost 11 times in a row to the Denver Nuggets. And let's look at a series of decisions that Rob Pelinka has made over the past few years. Rob Pelinka was the one who traded Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who's beating them now with the Denver Nuggets, for Russell Westbrook. Rob Pelinka was the guy who chose D'Angelo Russell over Mike Conley in the second Russell Westbrook trade. Rob Pelinka was the guy who chose Taylor Horton-Tucker over Alex Caruso and also just decided not to pay Alex Caruso what was an under-market value contract at the time and has only grown in that regard over the past few years with the Chicago Bulls. Rob Pelinka is the person who drafted Jalen Hood-Schifino over Jaime Jaquez, Brandon Podziemski, and Cam Whitmore, the next 3 picks in the draft, all of whom would have been excellent two-way additions for the Lakers this year. He's also the guy who signed Gabe Vincent last summer, who basically didn't play this year with a knee injury, and he's the guy who turned down options for Malik Beasley and Mo Bamba that could have been a large expiring contract for the Lakers to make a move this summer to add to their team, or this season, I should say, and then they didn't have it to improve this roster, which clearly wasn't good enough over the course of the year. So yes, I'm not saying Darvin Ham is perfect. I'm not saying he's the second coming of Red Auerbach. But when you look at what's going on with the Lakers, this team is not good enough. They have 2 two-way players in Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and those guys combined to play 147 games this season. The fact that this team is in the play-in mix because of that means the rest of this team around them is simply not good enough to be where the Lakers expect to be, which is contending for Western Conference titles and championships.
McMahon?
Well, listen, man. Everybody wants to talk about LeBron James. I get it. We only have one game left to talk about King James in the playoffs. He's in the conversation for greatest of all time. He's not in the conversation for greatest of right now. At some point, I guess we have 3 rounds left to talk about the greatest of right now. We have 3 rounds left to talk about Nikola Jokic, because the story of this series is not LeBron James, it's not the Lakers, it's the defending champion Nuggets, and the fact that Jokic is so by far the best player in this series. It's not even funny, just like that was the case last year in the so-called most competitive sweep of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that was a negative resume for Pelinka that Bontemps just went through there. And I don't know if I could recover from that if I was a Laker fan, because quite frankly, was quite the indictment. Okay, the series that you're at, McMahon, is going to be, I think, one of the most important and high intensity of the first round. You're back in Dallas tonight for Game 3 after the Mavericks were victorious in that terrific Game 2 performance. And you said something on the Hoop Collective the other day that ran in today's edition, which is you thought that Game 2 was the best defensive performance of Luka Doncic's career. Is this something that is a one-off? Can he keep this up? And can the Mavs win this series playing defense?
This is something that he's been building up to. He's been a drastically improved defensive player all season long. There's plenty of metrics that point to that. One of those, team defense, the Mavericks for the last 20 games of the season were the #1 defense in the NBA. So, no, I don't think this is a fluke. What I do think is it's an endurance test for Luka Doncic. Ty Lue referred to Jason Kidd as Jason Thibodeau because Luka played 46 minutes. He rested 1 time in the second half. He subbed out for 1 free throw. They called a timeout, and he subbed right back in. The Clippers, I think, will continue attacking him, but it didn't work last game. 2 of 17 with Luka as the primary defender. They're attacking him to try to make him work as hard as possible. Not only did he shut them down defensively, he had enough gas left in the tank to hit that step-back dagger. And Ty Lue said he felt like they were so focused on going at Luka that their offense got stagnant. So, again, I think they'll tweak it, but they're still going to hunt him because they have to wear him down to have a chance to win this series.
Well, McMahon, you're totally right about Luka's defense. He was fantastic in Game 2. And if you look forward in this series, this is a huge 5 games upcoming for Dallas. They traded for P.J. Washington, traded for Daniel Gafford, gave up a lot of future draft capital at the trade deadline to be a contender right now. They got to win this series to show they have the ability to be a contender right now. So let's see what happens tonight. Let's see what happens over the 4 games to follow.
It's going to be a very exciting series, I think. Chiney, the Hoop Collective is very, very proud to have been a little part of the show today.
Thank you for allowing me to be load managed here on NBA Today. It was very fun, Hoop Collective. But
NBA